All right, guys, I just got off the call with a venture capitalist. He has like $100 million in assets under management, and he wants to hire me as a consultant. And one of the things we do in the beginning when I get someone on board for a consulting gig is I make a 45-day action plan. I'm going to share that action plan with you, and it's essentially how to build a profitable personal brand in just 45 days, or at least what to do in the first 45 days. All right, so let's get started. So 45 days is essentially 6.5 weeks. And so let's tackle the first week. What are we going to do in the first week, right? In the first week, we're not going to make any content. We're just going to dial down on clarity. We're going to set up a bunch of assets so that we can then approach the next few weeks and create content using these assets and using this clarity going forward. So the first thing you do in week one is you define who your niche is, right? Who you're making content to. And once you have this dialed in, every piece of content you make needs to be made for this specific niche. If you're making content that's not for this niche, you don't post it. It's that simple, all right? That's how important this is. And when you pick the niche, you want to go as narrow as you possibly can. And here's an example. Let's say you do email marketing. So step one is you pick an audience, who you're going to be making the videos to. And then step two is you pick a problem. What problem are you helping them out? And then you essentially combine it. So for example, I help direct-to-consumer companies with email marketing, or I help manufacturing companies with SEO. When you niche down to that level, there's basically going to be no competition, and that's going to help YouTube recommend you to more people in that space. Once you've defined your niche, the next step is defining what type of content you're going to create. And there's different types of content. I actually made a whole video about like studying 100 different styles of content and figuring out the top 6 that have the best ROI, especially for business owners. And I'm just going to mention all 6 of those pieces of content. And what you can do is you can pick 1 or 2 of those styles. So the first style out of those top 6 is tutorial videos, right? So tutorial videos, guys, it's really simple. It's straight up, it's like making a Loom video and breaking down a software that people in that space use, right? So let's go back to that example of email marketing for direct-to-consumer companies. If you do email marketing, you know that there is a software called Klaviyo. That's the software that most people use to send emails out, right? And so what you can do is you can make a Klaviyo tutorial. Just switch on Loom and go step by step and break down how to do each of these things. The second content style is breakdown videos or reverse engineering videos. And so what they mean is you essentially find someone really successful in your space and you break down why they're successful. You reverse engineer why they're successful, right? Let's go back to email marketing, right? What you could do is, so what you do is email marketing for direct-to-consumer companies. Find a really big direct-to-consumer company, like let's say Manscaped, and subscribe to their emails so you get their emails, and then just break down why their emails do so well. That's how easy it is. And the reason this works so well is people click on the video because of Manscaped, like that big company that you spoke about, and they stay in the video because of you. The next content style is interviews or podcasts. I do this all the time. It's super low effort, right? Again, email marketing for direct-to-consumer companies. So what you do, you find guys who do email marketing for direct-to-consumer companies, and you can just look them up on LinkedIn, email them and say, hey, I have a podcast. Even if you don't have an audience, these guys are going to say yes because of how niche specific it is. And all you do is you interview them and you ask them all the questions that your audience would be interested in. It's so easy to do because you're not really creating any of the content. You're just asking questions and your guest is making the content in a way, right? And because of how easy it is, it just works so well and people stay on. And if you really want to supercharge this podcast, you can use our in-house podcast growth playbook. If you want it, just click the link in the description and I will send it over to you for free. Another great content style is build in public. There's a guy called Nick Sariev. He does this really well. You essentially document your journey building a email marketing company in the direct-to-consumer space. And the thing about build in public is people almost like they feel like they own stock in your company. They feel like this level of connection with you as they see you grow this. And if they run a direct-to-consumer company, they're going to try to get you on board to help them with their email marketing. It's a strategy that so many companies have used, like really huge companies have used to really blow up. The last style is raw educational content. It's basically what I'm doing right here, right? This is raw, it's unedited, or it's like really basic editing, and I'm just giving you informational, educational content. It's very low friction, it's very easy to do, and it just works incredibly well, especially if you're selling something high ticket, because people in the high ticket space, they like raw and real content. And so this is just a really good content style that you can use. So once you've picked one of these 6 content styles, the next step is distribution. Where are these videos going to go on? And I would really recommend picking YouTube as your primary form of distribution, especially when you're starting off, simply because YouTube is the best platform out there. Like there's a reason why all the top business people pick YouTube, or at least spend most of their resources on YouTube. Nothing builds trust like long form content. With Instagram or with TikTok, people are scrolling, and even if they find your stuff interesting and educational, you're not building a connection with them, because there's only so much of a connection you can build with someone in half a minute. But when it comes to long form like YouTube, 8 minutes, 12-minute videos, you just build a much stronger connection, and you need that connection if you're going to sell anything high ticket. Now, the last thing you want to do in your first week is build assets. So these assets could mean thumbnail photos. Like it's as simple as you making expressions like this or like this, so that these can be used in your future thumbnail. So what I've done is I've made this whole list of different poses that you can do, and I'm going to put them on the screen now. You can just screenshot them and you can just take these pictures. So what I do is I essentially switch on a video and I just make all of these actions, and I get my editor to screenshot them and take them as images, and he basically uses them to make an infinite number of thumbnails. A lot of top people, Hormozy, there's a lot of people in this space just do that. They just have a bunch of emotive images that the team can just use to make an infinite number of thumbnails. So that was the first week. Now we're on to the second week, and now we're actually creating the content. Now for your long form videos, you want to make shooting as easy as you can possibly make it. Now the first part of shooting is setting up the camera and the lights and all of that stuff. And what I do is I have this camera and this mic and these lights set up like this at all times. I'm actually going to put up a video of my setup, and essentially it's like this all the time. And the reason I do this is because if I have to set up the camera and the lights, that's too much friction. There's too much of a pain in the ass. And if I'm going to do that, I'm just not going to create any content. Right? So one really good way to get around this is to keep this set up in your place at all times. If you don't have all of this equipment, or you just don't have the space, you can very simply just take your iPhone, mount it to your laptop using one of these magnetic mounts, and then essentially you can shoot content whenever you want. And for the light, you can just sit next to a window. The only piece of equipment you'll need to buy is a mic, and you can get away with a simple Blue Yeti mic, or you can buy a nicer lav mic and you can just attach it to your t-shirt and then just shoot content like that. Now, what kind of content you make is dependent on the content style that you have picked, but a really simple way to get video ideas is to find other competitors in your space or in adjacent spaces and look for their outlier videos, right? Go on their YouTube page and see which videos have got more views than all the other videos there, and then just copy that video title. Now, don't copy the entire video, because that's not right, and people will look at you like you're a scumbag if you actually do that. So just make sure that the video is your own, but copy the thumbnail style and the video title as much as you can, and then use that to essentially have an infinite number of video ideas. Well, so you essentially do this through week 2 and 3. You create content. I would recommend creating one video every other day, and the reason you want to do this is this really helps you improve a lot. If you make a bunch of videos in one day, you're not going to improve as much, because if your first video is bad, the second video is probably going to be as bad, and you're probably going to get fatigued from creating content because you're not used to creating content, right? Later on, once you get good at it, you can spend an entire day just creating content because now you're already good. But if you're starting off, I would really recommend one video and give yourself a couple of days and make another video after that. It's going to shorten the feedback loop, so you're going to get better, but at the same time, you're going to be refreshed every time you make a video, and that's just going to help you make better content. So the 4th and the 5th week, what I want you to do is, now that you're creating content consistently, I want you to now build lead magnets. Now what you want to do is you want to really build the system that's going to monetize this whole thing, right? And if you want to build lead magnets, you can use an app like kit.com. It used to be called ConvertKit. It's very easy to use. You can essentially start off with their free plan, and every single video you make sure you have 2 or 3 assets that you have built that your audience will love. And the idea of a lead magnet, it's essentially a bribe to get your audience's email and phone number. Like in this video right here, one of the bribes that I gave you is I said that I have my podcast playbook, and you go to the link in the description, you click on it, and then you give me your information and I will email it over to you. And so you want to have 3 or 4 assets that you think your audience will love. I help people with personal branding, and one really good way to grow your personal brand is to start a podcast. And so my podcast playbook is something that will help them out. I have another lead magnet, which is essentially a ChatGPT prompt where you talk to ChatGPT for like 5 to 10 minutes. It asks you a bunch of questions. It learns everything about you and then gives you 100 video ideas for you that is specific to your ICP, right? That's a very valuable lead magnet, and I end up getting a lot of emails thanks to that, right? But once you get their emails, then you can hit them with email marketing, hit them with an email every single day, and try to convert them into clients, right? When you're making video content, it's harder to be salesy because it comes off a bit sleazy. But with email marketing, for some reason, I don't know why, but with email marketing, people are a lot more open to being sold on. And so every single email you send them, you can send them value, and towards the end, you can have a call to action. And with emails, you own this asset. Like with YouTube, you could lose your YouTube account. Like it most likely won't happen, but there's ways where you could lose it. You could say the wrong thing, you could say something controversial, and you can lose it. Your email list, though, you'll never lose it. It's your asset that you get to hold, and you want to start off growing it using lead magnets. And the last step, or the thing you want to do towards the end, is you want to launch your offer. Now, ideally, I want you to just pick one offer that your target audience will love. Even if you have 3 or 4 offers, just pick one offer and just push this one offer through the emails that you just collected using your lead magnet. You can also push this offer through your video. I would really recommend putting a really small call to action in the middle of your video and then a longer call to action towards the end of the video, right? Towards the middle of the video, your call to action could be as simple as, like, if you do email marketing, you can say something like, hey, if you run a direct-to-consumer company, you want to hire me to run your email marketing, click the link in the description and book a call with me, right? That's a very short call to action that you can use in the middle, and towards the end of the video you can have a longer call to action that maybe goes a little more in depth into what you do. And so how that would work is, by the way, if you love this video and you're like, damn, this guy really knows what he's talking about when it comes to email marketing, we can work together, right? I've helped company X, Y, and Z with their email marketing, and I've done this and I've done this other thing, and here are a few more results that I have got for them. And if you want something like this, click the link in the description and book a call with me. Yeah, that could be like a longer call to action that you could have towards the end of the video. A lot of people are hesitant to put a call to action because they feel that it's too salesy. But if you're in the B2B space, you're essentially marketing to other business owners, and business owners are not offended when you try to pitch them because that's what they do themselves, right? They're not going to really be offended. And a call to action towards the end is also not going to affect the view length of your video. That used to be something that mattered a lot. Like videos would only get pushed more if they had a higher completion rate. That means more people would watch the video towards the end. But nowadays, that's just not the case. The algorithm nowadays just cares about viewer satisfaction. And so you don't really have to worry about putting a call to action towards the end, right? And so that's really it. One offer, make one very simple landing page. It could be as simple as a type form. And then once they qualify through the type form, they can then book a call with you. It can be as simple as that, and start pushing the offer through the video and start pushing the offer through the email marketing. And that's essentially it. If you do this for 45 days, if you follow this plan for 45 days, most of my clients, I'd say 60% of my clients at the end of these 45 days have at least got $3,000 to $5,000 in cash collected. This is from a brand new personal brand that didn't even exist. So just make sure that you follow this step by step. And if you have any questions, I'm going to put up my Instagram. You can just straight up message me and I will help you out for free. Like, if you're actually executing on this stuff, nothing brings me more happiness than seeing that. And so I'd be happy to help you out for free. This is my Instagram. Feel free to message me. And if you're looking to build your personal brand, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to have videos like this coming out every single week.